gone. Dekhkanow, also known as Mike Gracie, out of Team Doyle.
You know, Mike, as I'm going to call him, he spent a little time up in New York with Renzo Gracie, so he's got a great jiu-jitsu background. He's been training with Mick Doyle. I mean, he's going to be a well-rounded fighter, and we already know what kind of product they produce. So, yeah, stick around for this.
These two guys both going at it. Bass throwing a right. Mike Gracie getting after it as well.
He landed a kick right off the bat that kind of stunned Bass. Bass came back with a cross. It looks like that they're really going to fill each other out with their fists.
Stephen
there
Bass.
There it is. Nice cross. He sized him with that lazy jab. Hard cross. Oh, that hurt him. Oh, nice.
So
nice
Bass
counter.
Keeps landing the leg kicks, and
he's coming right, snapping right back off that leg kick, though, with a real steady cross, and that's one of the best. If you don't check the kick, throw across.
Dekhkanow misses just barely with that, and then a front kick from Stephen Bass, the brother of Seth Bass, another quality mixed martial arts fighter from the area, and Dekhkanow goes right at Bass.
When you're looking at two guys that have very easily could be big names someday and not too far down the road.
Dekhkanow on the left, Bass on the right.
I wouldn't be surprised to see these two meet later on in their careers regardless of what happens tonight.
Nice right hand by Dekhkanow.
It's a great example of the matchmaking this evening. These are two.
Yeah, we haven't really had a mismatch yet.
Absolutely. I mean, and these two really bring it to the table. Look at neither one shows any fear in their eyes.
I'll tell you what, man, with Dekhkanow, once he makes that initial move, I mean, it's on.
He's got a slippery cross. He's got that lazy jab. Yeah, you're right. And he comes right off of being struck.
There you go.
He's got that leg. He's going to pin him up. Look for him to do some type of sweep with the other leg and stay out of the guard. There you go.
No sweep needed, just
tilt.
brute force.
Tilt and go.
And Dekhkanow with Stephen Bass. And the full mount of Stephen Bass, even though Bass has that left arm over the back of Dekhkanow, but Dekhkanow with the full mount. Let's see what the Tajikistan fighter can do.
He hasn't been here his whole life. He's from Tajikistan, or however you say it. I'm going to tell you what, they have different upbringings over there. They fought tough lives. They're not going to give up. I guarantee that.
Oh boy!
Look at that.
The last thing that Stephen Bass wants to do is find himself in that position. But a nice job of defending the armbar by Stephen Bass,
especially from anybody that's ever rolled on a mat with a Gracie. That alone is an accomplishment right there. Yeah, you're right, Matt.
So wow, we've come to the end of round one. Is that fairly even round?
Yeah, I mean, once again, I'm glad they've had the commentator job on the fight such as this one. I think a little harder strikes I've seen from Mike.
We're going to go with Dekhkanow for round number one. All right. Well, Padani 101 Kickboxing is a new series of instructional videos featuring some of your favorite fighters. You can train at home with the legendary Muay Thai instructor Kurt the Dragon Padani. Check out Padani 101 Kickboxing exclusively on P2CN.TV. It's your path to Champion Network coming soon. And P2CN.TV viewing parties. Check out Grata down in the Clock Tower Shopping Center in Lincoln, Nebraska, Saturday, March 15th for MCF 9 St. Patty's Day Beatdown. That's Grata in the Clock Tower Shopping Center, Lincoln, Nebraska. For more information, visit P2CN.TV. Getting set for round number two. A look at Stephen Bass as he gets set to take on Dekhkanow in round number two.
And you see Dwayne Johnson leaving the ring there. So, once again, Bass is in good company with his training partners. We're just seeing a great matchup right here.
Yeah, Dekhkanow has those heavy hands, and Seth Bass, though, doing a nice job as well with keeping Dekhkanow at bay with some leg kicks. And
Bass needs to work on keeping those hands up just a little bit more because, like you said before, he is slippery with that cross.
Oh, that's Dekhkanow!
We just called it.
With the right hand.
Just called it. That cross is just coming through too often. not to keep your hands up, Mr. Bass. And now
he's got the arm
effects.
pinned, and look out for the hammer fist. And now
he'll gladly take an
going
arm
for
bar
an arm
after
bar.
that. Absolutely.
But Bass does a nice job.
Defending, he's curling up, great. He needs to get to a 69 or even better. Still made the
But what an agile athlete is this Dekhkanow.
God, just all over the place.
Taking whatever his opponent's giving him, right?
Absolutely. And
not
Bass,
forcing anything.
I'm not gonna discredit Bass at all, just for being able to withstand that punch, keep composure, and then fight an armbar. That's a tough kid, Matt.
That's the second time tonight that he's fended off an armbar from Dekhkanow, and Seth Bass now in the Stephen Bass, excuse me, now in the full guard of Dekhkanow.
He's giving himself time to regain his composure, get back to Mr. Bass, do what Mr. Bass does. It's a little different game once you smell the Fruit Loops. You know, once they give you that ding, follow the nose. It always knows. He's doing everything he needs to do to get himself back in the fight, and now you're going to see him get more active. I guarantee it.
Well, after a very active first minute of round number 2. Things have kind of slowed down a little bit, but both fighters still being active in their respective positions.
Exactly, and you said it correctly right there, respective positions, and that's what they're doing, respecting each other right now.
What do you think Stephen Bass just said to Josh Knight there? He said something to him. I'm not sure what it was. And
I think he probably said, don't let him throw that cross again.
As Bass rains down an elbow from full guard. Dekhkanow trying to keep Bass' left arm locked down.
He's doing a good job. He's kind of setting into that Kimura possible hammerlock position, at least giving him something to rotate off of, or at least getting Bass's attention to where he moves into something that he's setting him up for.
Stephen Bass. Keep confusing him with his brother Seth Bass. But Stephen Bass,
talent in the family. What do you do?
On top of Dekhkanow in the corner. We are under a minute to go. Final 10 seconds, actually, of round number 2 between Bass and Dekhkanow.
I'm excited to see number 3.
Come to the end of round number 2 between these two young, talented fighters. Dekhkanow making his MMA debut out of Team Doyle, Mick Doyles, and Stephen Bass looking to improve his record to 2-1 as he sits at 1-1 coming into this contest. Keep in mind that we have 6 fights remaining. Our next one after this one will be Rodney Peterson against Zach Hughes, who has been back in Omaha just less than a month after being in Afghanistan in the Air Force. So Zach Hughes returns to Omaha, and less than a month later is inside the Dynasty Combat Sports cage. And then our main event of the undercard, our 9th fight of the night, Mercedes Timmerman fighting out of Team Elite, taking on Janie Konyek out of Premier Combat Center. So our second female fight, just 2 fights away.
That's going to be a good one, too. You don't want to step away from that because, like I said, Mercedes is walking in this venue with Rod Smith. I know he's a beast. And Janie, we've already seen several times tonight what Premier produces as far as athletes.
Round number 3 of this amateur fight between Dekhkanow at the top of the screen and Stephen Bass at the bottom. What do you have it going into round 3 here, Jake?
You know, I think it's 2-1, 2-0, and Bass has to really be aggressive here.
So Jake Kurtz has Dekhkanow up 2-1 on his unofficial scorecard, and now Dekhkanow in full guard on top of Stephen Bass.
Last round was a 10-8 round. I don't care with that cross and then knocking him down regardless of the reversal. And so, I mean, this isn't the position Bass wants to be in at all to regain any type of lead. You look at him to fight, he needs to stay on his feet.
And look at Dekhkanow. He went from a full mount on top to
making sure he's
full mount on, kept both hooks in when Bass turned. Yeah, right. Absolutely.
A lot of that's where he's keeping his hips too, his hips placements. He's not getting too high, and he's not getting to where he can get overrode with a guard from Bass.
And obviously Bass was looking to roll out of that, but wasn't able to because of Dekhkanow being able to stay in control on top now. And
Dekhkanow is very poised. He's getting his body position. He's not hurrying anything. He knows he's winning this fight.
What? Yeah, I mean, if you're a fighter that you know you're dominating a fight, the last thing you can be really, though, is conservative. Is there a point where you do fight not to lose, or you always have to stay on the offensive?
You got to stay on the offensive these days. I mean, just one shot. You've seen it happen how many times? I mean, fighters.
Yeah, you're one punch away.
One punch away. It's a fighter's chance. So cliche, but so true, Matt. And it's a great point. Yeah, he doesn't want to get lackadaisy here, especially with somebody that has the power like Bass has and can deliver a fight-changing punch.
Dekhkanow on the bottom now, still has Stephen Bass in his full guard. Bass trying to make a little something happen, but as you can see, Dekhkanow still able to control the right arm of Stephen Bass.
Bass got to be active here. I mean, he's got to fight like he knows that there is nothing but a minute left in this fight.
Well, and we saw what happens. I mean, we saw what can happen when Chris Moore fought Moss.
Yeah, Nate.
You know, Moss dominated the first 2 rounds, and Moore needed a finish, a finish, a submission, a knockout, and that's exactly what Moore did. He got busy. He knew he had to win, finish.
He went after it, but and not to discredit Bass, but I mean, right? Maybe he's still wrong from that shot that put him on the mat. And if that being the case, yeah, what do you do? That's the end of the fight right there.
End of the fight right there, and it's just pretty much a formality to get the official decision from Mike Kendall, but we're going to have to say that Karnroman Dekhkanow gets the victory here tonight, but we'll get the official decision here in a moment. For all your MMA opinions, interviews, and breaking news, visit MMAJam.ca. It's a fun and informative site with a passion and love for the sport. And also, Path to Champion Network is dedicated to future champions. We provide you with live, exclusive broadcasts, in-depth interviews, and behind-the-scenes coverage of up-and-coming MMA fighters. Speaking of the Path, be sure to join us and stay with us during our intermission after 2 more fights, where the Path debuts with a look at Brian B. Hugh Houston as he makes his path to the UFC.
I want to take this time while we're talking about people that are from other countries and immigrants. I want to congratulate Mick Doyle, just got his citizenship.
Yeah, I saw
recently.
That on Facebook the other day.
Yeah, real cool. I mean, that's a guy who gives his heart and soul to America.
Absolutely. So, yeah, congratulations to Mick Doyle.
Congratulations, Mick.
Let's go inside the cage now for the official announcement of the decision between Karnroman Dekhkanow on the left and Stephen Bass on the right. Josh Knight getting ready to raise the hand of the winner. You see Dwayne Johnson.
I do. Look
behind
at that.
Stephen Bass.
I fear anybody that guy walks out with. Honestly, it doesn't say everything, but it does say a lot. Here, once again, I think we had a well-matched fight. I think it was what it was supposed to be. It was a battle, and one man won.
Ladies and gentlemen, after 3 rounds of the scorecards. And ladies and gentlemen, your winner by split decision out of the red corner.